Good morning, scholars. Today is Friday, May 1st, 2020, day 23 of Mr. Correa's Math Virtual Learning. Today, scholars, we're going to work on reviewing comparing fractions and finding equivalent fractions. This week, we learned the great relationship between the denominator and the size of the equal part. And we found that as the denominator increases, the size of the actual equal part gets smaller. And this can help us when comparing unit fractions because focus is placed on the size of the named equal part. Let's compare 1/3 and 1/4. The first thing we have to do is name the equal part in each whole. So to represent 1/3, I'm going to name one equal part out of the three. And to represent 1/4, I'm going to name one equal part out of the four. Now, focusing on the actual size of both equal parts named, we see that 1/3 is bigger than 1/4. So this tells us, that 1/3 is greater than 1/4. Let's try another example by comparing the two fractions below. Let's compare 1/4 and 1/6. Let me shade or name the equal part in each whole. So I'm going to shade in 1/4, or one equal part out of the four. And I'm going to shade in 1/6, one equal part out of the six. And looking at the size of both equal parts, we see that 1/4 is bigger, so 1/4 is greater than 1/6. When comparing non-unit fractions, focus is still placed on the size of the equal part. For example, we're comparing 2/3 and 2/6. They both have the same number of equal parts named. However, which equal parts are bigger? Is it 2/3 or 2/6? Looking at the models, we see that 2/3 is way bigger than 2/6. So 2/3 is greater than 2/6. Let's try another example. Let's compare 2/2 and 2/4. Looking at the size of the equal parts, we clearly can see that 2/2 is bigger than 2/4. And also, we know that 2/2 is equivalent to one whole. So 2/2 are greater than 2/4. We also learned this week about equivalent fractions, and we learned that equivalent fractions are different fractions with equal parts that are the same size. For example, let's look at the fractions 1/2 and 2/4. Both have different numerators and both have different denominators. But looking at the models to the left, we see that the one equal part named in 1/2 is actually the same size as the two equal parts named in 2/4. So a great strategy to use to find an equivalent fraction, we can actually double the number of parts named and the equal parts in the whole. For example, let's pretend these rectangles are fraction strips. We start out with a fraction strip showing halves, and when we fold that in half, that creates fourths. And so the fourths were created by adding this horizontal line going across from left to right. So we actually folded the half in half to make a fourth. Let's look at the example below. Now we have 1/2 being represented. And if we take 1/2 and fold it in half, which is this horizontal line going left to right, look what happened to the number of equal parts named. The one equal part turned into how many? Two equal parts named. That's like doubling one, which makes two. And look at the number of equal parts in the whole. We began with two equal parts, Now we have a total of how many? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again, we doubled the denominator of 2 and got 4. So this tells us that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. Let's try this example. What is equivalent to 2/3? We have 3 equal parts in this whole and 2 parts are named. Remember, if we split this whole in half by adding that horizontal line, we can actually double the number of parts named and the number of parts in the whole. So 2/3, we know, is equivalent to what fraction? Well, let's find out how many equal parts we have now in this new whole. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'll be our denominator. And how many parts do we have named? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those 2 equal parts named in 2/3 actually turn into 4 equal parts named in 4/6 when we split the whole in half. So we know that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. Excellent job, scholars. Let's try one more example. What is equivalent to 1/4? Let me give you a couple of seconds to find that out. All right. So we know we take this 1/4 and we split the whole in half. So our 4 equal parts doubled and turned into 8 equal parts. And the 1 part that was named doubled and turned into what? 2 equal parts that are named. So we know 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8. Excellent job, scholars, on your review today. I want everyone to have a safe weekend, and I look forward to seeing you Monday. Have a great day. Bye.